X had carried the note for 3 days, folded tightly in his back pocket, written in his smallest, most careful handwriting. Elon asked once, "What's that for?" X only smiled. "For someone who needs it." At the event, politicians and cameras surrounded them. Elon shook hands. X stayed quiet, observing everything. Pam Bondi was talking nearby, eyes tired behind practiced smiles. X tugged his dad's sleeve. "That's her." Elon looked confused. "Who?" "The one who needs it," X said, walking straight toward her. He reached into his pocket, handed Pam the small folded paper without a word, just a nod. She took it politely, not expecting anything serious from a child. But something in his eyes stopped her. She opened it. Her breath caught. Tears welled up almost instantly. She sat down, overwhelmed by silence. Elon stepped forward, concerned. "Is everything okay?" Pam nodded, voice trembling. This is everything I forgot I needed." The cameras kept rolling, but for a moment, the only story was the one written by a child. The note read, "I know sometimes being strong feels heavy, but someone sees you, and you don't have to carry it alone anymore." Pam read it again, slower this time, tears now openly falling down her cheeks in front of strangers. She had faced political fire, courtroom battles, and media storms, but nothing cracked her like that small, handwritten truth. She looked up at X, stunned. "Did you write this?" He nodded quietly. "I just felt it." Elon stood speechless. Even he couldn't explain how his son always knew when someone needed light. Pam whispered, "You're a child." "How do you understand this?" X shrugged. "Sometimes kids see things grown-ups miss." Around them, the crowd softened. Phones lowered. Hearts opened. Something unseen passed through that space. Pam held the note like it was sacred scripture, folded it carefully, and slipped it into her jacket. "I won't forget this," she said. "Not today, not ever." X smiled again. "That's why I wrote it, so you wouldn't have to carry it all yourself." After a deep breath, Pam asked X the question no one expected. "Do you believe in God?" X didn't flinch. "I believe in light, and it comes from somewhere good." Elon watched his son, struck by his clarity. His answers had more weight than most adults he'd met. Pam wiped her eyes. "I used to believe too, but politics changes people." "Truth doesn't," X replied. "It just waits until you come back to it." She stared at him, shaken. "You're not supposed to be this wise." "Sometimes we get gifts early," X said. "We just don't know why yet." Elon felt something shift inside him. A stillness, a strange peace. Reporters started gathering, sensing a story, but not the one they expected. In that moment, a child's words turned politics into poetry. Pam stood up slowly. The paper was still trembling in her hand. "I need a minute," she said, walking away from the crowd. X turned to Elon. "Did I do something wrong?" Elon knelt down. "No. You did something right that most people never dare." Pam stopped behind a tree, away from flashing cameras, her breath caught in her chest. She pulled out the note again, read it, and read it again. "Someone sees you." It echoed louder now. It felt divine. A staffer found her crying. "Ma'am, everything okay?" She smiled. "Finally, yeah." She returned, composed but changed. Something soft in her voice, something younger in her eyes, and, without saying a word, she hugged X with a gratefulness too deep for language. Later that night, Pam posted a photo of the note. No caption, just the paper on her palm. The image went viral within hours, shared by celebrities, veterans, mothers, and mental health pages. One tweet read, "A child just healed something politics never could." Elon received hundreds of messages. "Whatever you're teaching him, keep doing it." But Elon hadn't taught him that. X was just listening to something higher. TV anchors discussed it. "We don't cover faith much, but this story demanded it." X refused interviews. It wasn't about going viral. It was about Pam. Pam's email inbox flooded. People shared their pain, their burnout, and how that note made them feel seen. Elon turned to his son. "You okay?" X nodded. "Just a little tired, but in a good way." And in that tiredness, a quiet kind of history was being made. Next morning, X sat at the kitchen table writing again. Elon raised an eyebrow. "Another note?" he asked. "This one's for you," X said, sliding it across the table. Elon unfolded it slowly. It read, "You don't always have to fix the world. Sometimes just being my dad is enough." Elon didn't speak for a long time. Just stared at the words like they were a mirror. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. X grinned. "That's the point." Elon stood up and hugged him tight, tighter than usual. "How do you know what to say?" Elon asked. "Because I listen when you don't think I'm watching." For the first time in weeks, Elon put away his phone. Just sat there. They didn't build anything that morning, but something inside them had been rebuilt, and sometimes that's more important than rockets. Pam called that afternoon, her voice steadier, but still carrying the echo of that moment. "I just needed to say thank you," she said. "Not for politics, for presence." Elon put her on speaker. X listened quietly. "You made me remember who I was before I became someone for everyone else." "That's good," X said, "because I liked who I saw." Pam chuckled softly. "I needed a child to remind me of grace." "Grown-ups forget easier," X said, "but it's never too late to remember." They talked for 20 minutes about hope, healing, and the power of quiet kindness. When they hung up, Elon said, "That call healed more than a headline ever could." And somewhere in Florida, Pam folded that note one more time and placed it next to her heart. The note became national news, talk shows, YouTube channels, and podcasts all asked the same thing. How did a boy write something that deep? But Elon refused to commercialize it. It's not a product. It's a moment. X turned down offers for books, appearances, even a documentary. "Not my story," he said. It was her healing. Commentators debated whether the world was too cynical to hold something so pure. But millions disagreed. They printed the note, framed it, memorized it. "Someone sees you." It became more than a sentence. It became a lifeline. Therapists used it. Teachers read it aloud. Pastors preached about it. But through it all, X stayed grounded. I didn't create anything. I just listened. And in that simple listening, a broken world remembered the sound of compassion. Sometimes, the deepest wisdom doesn't come from age. It comes from attention. Months later, X was invited to a community award ceremony. "For compassion," the host said. He wore no suit, just his usual hoodie, and carried no speech. When asked to say something, he held up a blank sheet of paper. "This is what most people carry inside," he said. "Empty space, waiting for one kind word." The crowd fell silent. He folded the paper, just like his note to Pam. "You don't need to be famous to fill this," he said. "Just aware." His voice never raised, but it resonated louder than any standing ovation. Pam was there, watching with quiet pride. Elon clapped slowly. Not for a show, for a soul. And when X stepped down, the world stood up. X never wrote another public note. But that one letter changed thousands of lives. Elon saved the original, tucked safely behind glass in a quiet corner of his office. "This reminds me what impact looks like," he said. Years later, Pam gave a talk to young leaders. She pulled out a worn piece of paper. "This saved me," she said, "not from danger, from despair." The crowd wept, not because of fame, but because of truth. And in that truth, politics paused for humanity. X grew older, wiser, still quiet, but never unsure. One note, one moment, a reminder that kindness doesn't need headlines to change history. Just a pen, a whisper, and the courage to see someone who forgot they mattered. A teacher printed the note and taped it to her classroom door. "Today, we learn empathy," she said, "not equations." Students took turns reading it out loud, some struggling to hold back tears. "Someone sees you." It wasn't just a phrase. It was a mirror. A shy boy whispered, "This is the first time I've felt seen here." The class grew quiet, not out of boredom, but reverence. One student added, "If a kid can change the world with one sentence, maybe I can too." They wrote their own notes, leaving them around the school. Some read, "You're enough." Others, "You matter," even if no one says it. The janitor found one in his mop bucket and cried quietly by the lockers. And just like that, one note became hundreds. And a school was transformed. A retired veteran found the story online. Scrolling through the noise, something about that note stopped him cold. He had battled war, depression, and silence. "Someone sees you," he repeated softly. That night, he folded a piece of paper and wrote to his daughter for the first time in years. "I'm still here. I hope you are too." She responded the next day. 3 words. "I missed you." They met at a diner the next week. No speeches, just hugs. "That boy saved my life," the veteran later said, "and he didn't even know it." His story spread across veteran forums. Strangers began reaching out to estranged family. "If a child can say it, I can too," one wrote. And across quiet homes, the silence finally cracked. with kindness. A woman facing stage 4 cancer rewrote the note in calligraphy and framed it by her hospital bed. Every nurse who entered saw it. "Someone sees you." It changed how they worked. Slower, gentler, with eyes full of warmth. She began handing smaller versions to other patients. "Pass it on when you're ready." The notes traveled room to room, then ward to ward. Some were tucked in pillows, others taped to IV poles. One doctor said, "In 30 years of medicine, I've never seen healing like this. Not physical healing, emotional awakening." The woman passed away weeks later, smiling. Her final words, "He saw me, so I saw others." X came home from school and found a pile of envelopes on the kitchen table. Elon smiled. "They're not for me. They're for you." Hundreds of letters from strangers, some typed, most handwritten. "I was on the edge. Your note pulled me back. You reminded me I matter, even if I forgot." X read them one by one, quiet, focused, heart full. "Should we keep them?" Elon asked. X said, "No. We should answer them." Elon sat down. "Let's write." And together, they filled the kitchen with thank you notes for people they'd never met, but already loved. A publisher reached out. "We'd like to turn the note into a book." X said, "Only if the money goes to people who feel unseen." The deal was signed under one condition: no fame, just faith. The book contained letters, stories, reactions, all born from one moment. The first page? The note in X's handwriting. The final page? A blank space for readers to write their own. It hit bestseller lists in days. Not because of hype, but healing. One reviewer said, "This book didn't entertain me. It reintroduced me to myself." Elon placed a copy on every Tesla desk, because no machine should be built in a world where hearts feel invisible. A man knocked on Elon's door. Not press, not a fan, just someone with a past. "I came to say thank you. That note stopped me from ending everything." Elon welcomed him in, sat with him, listened. "I didn't write it," Elon said. "My son did," the man cried. "Then tell him he gave a stranger hope." X appeared in the hallway, quiet. "You're not a stranger," he said. "You're someone who stayed." They hugged, a long, real, healing hug. The man left lighter. Elon stared at X. "You may never know the full weight of your words." X answered, "Then I'll keep writing, just in case someone else needs to breathe." At the airport, a woman dropped her bag, frantic. X picked it up. "Are you okay?" She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "I'm just tired." X wrote something quickly on a napkin, handed it to her, walked away. She opened it. It read, "Even tired hearts are loved." She burst into tears, clutching her chest. A stranger beside her asked, "Are you okay?" "Better now." She smiled. "That boy just reminded me I'm still here." She boarded her flight lighter, like someone had taken a bag she didn't know she was carrying. X sat down beside Elon. "Sometimes people don't know how seen they are until you write it down." A filmmaker followed the story, quietly. No flash. He called it The Note. The film wasn't about X. It was about everyone who changed after the note. No actors, only real people reading their letters aloud. A prisoner, a nurse, a veteran, a teenager, a grandmother. One line kept returning. You don't have to carry it alone. The world watched. And something opened. Churches used it. Schools screened it. People cried in theaters. The final scene was X looking out a window, quietly writing. No music, no credits, just a pen and hope. X received a global award for impact. He didn't attend. Elon accepted on his behalf. He's not doing this for applause, he said. He's doing it because someone might need a reason to stay. The crowd gave a standing ovation anyway. Back home, X was writing another note. Elon asked, "For someone you know?" "No," X said. "For someone who feels forgotten." The award was displayed quietly in the living room, not because it was rare, but because it was real. Some trophies are made of gold, others of paper and ink. Years later, long after the moment passed, people still carried copies of the note. Some laminated, some folded, some memorized. It showed, up in hospital, waiting rooms, military bases, even tattooed on skin. But X never claimed credit. "I just wanted someone to feel less alone," he said. Elon looked at him one evening and said, "You've done more with one sentence than I've done with 1,000 inventions." X replied, "You made rockets. I just made a landing pad." The two laughed, knowing both had changed the world. Because sometimes revolution isn't in noise. It's in one quiet note that reminds you you're not invisible. And that, truly, is where hope begins. What do you think the note revealed about the power of empathy? And how did it inspire change across so many lives? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And please let us know where you're watching this video from in the comments below. If this story moved you, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories like this. Thank you for being part of our journey.